Public at all. I don't want to, because I think that largely they're scum. They make me physically sick. The general public, they are scum. And I hope you print that, because that is my opinion of like 99% of the shit you find out in the street. You don't know a fucking thing. And like, I don't want to please cunts like them. By just making a record and appearing on TV and just like saying, oh, fuck this, fuck that, quite casually. Nothing we ever did was planned. That thing on Bill Grundy, it wasn't planned, it just happened. It was spontaneous completely. He was a bit of a joke, so like when he was asked to say rude words, he did. Just for the hell of it, just for a laugh, because that's the kind of guy Steve is. I'm at the moment friends with John. The other two are not friends with him. They don't want to play with me because they just think I'm a junkie, which I'm not anymore. And the other two are a bit too straight, if you know what I mean. They're very, very straight. I'd rather have a band where there's a bit more freedom. People in their fucking god-awful attitudes. What I want to do is put something else out that I like, and like whoever else likes it will find it, do you know what I mean? And if like nobody else in the whole fucking world likes it, I could give two shits. It doesn't sell one copy, who gives a fuck? The point is that it's what you want to do. You have fun making it, you have fun listening to it. I listen to our records a lot because I like them. I think they're good records, otherwise I wouldn't have had any part in them. A Day in the Life of Meekins, it's like a day in the life of a pop star, right? And you have him going around in a flash car and whacking up smack and doing this and that and the other. And like a day in my life is like getting up at 3 o'clock, going to the office and hustling 10 quid out of Sophie or something and going somewhere and waiting hours to fucking cop some dope, you know what I mean? And like, that is the most boring thing on earth. It's as boring as sitting at home and drinking beer or fucking any other shit thing to do, you know what I mean? And like, films are about lies, they're about making things look glamorous, and nothing's glamorous. Everything's a load of bullshit. And it makes me sick to think that people will act out parts and, like, make it all seem large and life, just like some crud out there can get off on some fantasy that life is wonderful, really. And one day, when I was like 10 years old, and when I used to think Mark Bolan was great, I used to think to myself, what a wonderful life Mark Bolan must have. Just think, and if only I could be like him, gosh, just think of the things he must do. And like, I do the things that he'd done before that stupid bitch crashed his fucking mini for him or something. And like, he probably did exactly the same thing as what I do now, sit in my mummy's front room because I don't have anywhere to live. You know what I mean? There's nobody dependent on Malcolm, that fucking toss bag. I hate that geezer. I'm not dependent on him at all. I'd smash his face in quite happily. I depend on him for exactly nothing. Do you know, all I've ever got out of him is I think it's £15 in all the time that I've known the fucking bastard. And a t-shirt. He gave me a free t-shirt once, years ago. And once he gave me a fiver and I stole a tenner off him a little while ago. And that's all. My own group together, the Flowers of Romance, and Rotten asked me if I wanted to join there's this big hoo-ha on Malcolm said, it's all a big secret, man, come down to this pub at such and such now. And I thought they were going to do me over because I didn't turn up to one of Rotten's parties or something. He gets touchy over things like that. And I went down there and he said, do you want to play bass for the Sex Pistols? Describe me, I'm not good at fighting. But if I get somebody on the ground, then they are finished. You know what I mean? If I beat somebody, I beat them bad. And Malcolm came up to the studio when we were rehearsing, and he said, your contract's been cancelled, and we said, ha 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 ha, and we all went out and had a drink and laughed our heads off over it because we don't care. Flowers of Romance, we just could never be as good as that, and there's just no point being second best. And like, I was thinking of not being in a band anymore then, because like, I thought, how can you equal that? That's the best gig I ever saw in my life. I I don't know what happened with the EMI, but A&M cancelled our contract because, like, they put us in a limousine and we didn't like it. And me and him beat up the, you know, Paul, our drummer. We got in a fight. We were all like, we'd like drunk like a 2 litre of a bottle that size of 80% proof vodka each, and like a half a bottle of brandy and whiskey and stuff, and like we were a bit out of it, and like we got in a fight in the car, and like we smashed each other's heads in. Steve nearly broke my legs. We aren't nice boys. We were fucking nasty little bastards, and we still are. Cashing on the fact that I'm good looking and I have a good figure and girls like me. Well, they want a fucking angel in flares and an anime, because if they want that ain't me, baby. And because, like, we're saying things that to the straight, like, cops and, you know, like, the growing-ups, that's unacceptable to them. They can't take anarchy. They want everything ordered so that life is nice and safe, and, like, they're closet cases. They ain't ever been out of their closet since the day they were born, and they never will either. But we are starting to bring them out of their wardrobes, if you know what that means. Like you know, like, what can you do? We have something to say, so we have to say it, right? When we toured Sweden, right, there was these two little kids, right, who worked in this punk shop in Sweden, right? And one of them was 12. These kids were incredible. One of them had an iron cross tattooed on his chest, right? And like that, but they like, I spent the whole day with them. They shoved me around. We had really good fun, and they took me out and bought me a load of sweets and things. It was just great. And they were really brilliant. They were fantastic. Like 12 years old, you know what I mean? I gave one kid my favourite T-shirt. People have been calling us punks like since we were 15, you know what I mean? Like, we've looked like this ever since then.
Sex Pistols made international headlines for their antisocial antics that often triggered violence in the audience. They beat each other, they vomited on stage. And because of their criminal records off stage, Vicious once knocked a British Bobby's teeth out. The U.S. State Department for a while refused to give them visas for their American tour. It relented, and the tour lasted 6 months. The night the group split up, Vicious was pulled off a plane at Kennedy Airport, the victim of a drug overdose. Today, police received an ambulance call at the Chelsea Hotel on West 23rd Street. In room 100, Sid Vicious was sitting on the bed near his picture. In the bathroom was the 20-year-old American girl he'd lived with for 2 years. Nancy Laura Spungen had been stabbed to death. Police say a collapsible hunting knife lay nearby. Neon Leon, a rock artist, was with Sid Vicious and Nancy early this morning.
Which I find it kind of hard to believe, knowing him outside of the context of, you know, the image of what the Sex Pistols were supposed to be, anarchy and, you know, destroying
violence
and so forth. But he really loved this person. He loved her more than he loved his music.
Vicious's real name is John Simon Ritchie, and he's been booked for murder. When they transferred him to a detention center, it took 4 men to hold him. Sid Vicious fought his way through a barricade of cameras. But this time, it wasn't for show.
It was meant to happen. Nancy always said she'd die before she was 21. What would you like to happen now over the next, say, year or two? I'd like to have fun. What sort of fun? Any kind of fun, just fun. That's my object in life.
When police arrived at this 5-story brownstone on Bank Street in the village, they found the body in a ground floor bedroom. Sid Vicious, the punk rock star, dead from an overdose of heroin. The dead man's mother had discovered the body at noon today when she went to awaken him in the bedroom of his girlfriend, Michelle Robinson. Miss Robinson, asleep at the time, was not aware that her boyfriend had died during the night. The story told to police by Miss Robinson and the dead man's mother goes like this. Sid Vicious, awaiting trial for the murder of a former girlfriend, had been released on bail yesterday from the prison on Rikers Island. He came here at 6 p.m. His mother and Miss Robinson had arranged a celebration in Miss Robinson's village apartment. About 10 friends came to the party. It continued until 2 a.m. Sid Vicious, they say, had been happy and jovial, talking at length about a comeback and the bright future in showbiz. Around midnight, he injected himself with heroin. A bad reaction followed. He regained and lost consciousness 3 or 4 times, they say, but eventually seemed to recover. He went to bed with his girlfriend at 3 a.m. and seemed to be all right. But Sid Vicious, police say, died from an overdose of heroin, and there was no indication of foul play.
Sid Vicious is dead after taking an overdose of heroin last night. Police say his death was an accident. Vicious, real name John Simon Ritchie, left a New York prison only yesterday. He was released on $50,000 bail, charged with the murder of his girlfriend Nancy Spungen last October. His mother met him at the prison gates. Vicious went to a party to celebrate his release. Then, according to police, he took the heroin. He'd been having treatment to give up his addiction. Apparently last night's dose was too potent.
Absolutely no interest in pleasing the general public at all. I don't want to, because I think that largely they're scum. They make me physically sick. The general public, they are scum. And I hope you print that, because that is my opinion of like 99% of the shit you find out in the street who don't know a fucking thing. And like, I don't want to please cunts like them.